Hey everyone, Mystical Mark here. So this will be your weekly astrology forecast for the week of October 13th to the 19th of 2024. Before we get into it here, if you are interested in getting a reading with me, you can head over to my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below, in my bio if you're on TikTok. If you do want to support me on my Ko-Fi, the link is in the description below as well, and again in my bio on TikTok. Memberships start as low as $1 a month. And of course, if you can, always hit that like button, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, hit that follow button if you're on TikTok to help the algorithm, do its algorithm thing. All right, let's get into the chart here for this week. So we're going to start off here on October 13th, Sunday. All right, we've actually got kind of a lot of things, happening this day. So we're going to have Mercury coming into Scorpio here. We're also going to have, I'm just going to list them off, then we're going to go through them here. We're going to have the Sun in biquintile to Uranus, Mercury squaring Pluto before entering into Scorpio, Mars square Chiron, Mars semisextile Jupiter, Sun opposition Chiron, and Sun trine Jupiter. There's kind of a lot going on, Mercury and Scorpio, this Chiron stuff. This might be kind of an interesting, bit of an intense, possibly triggering kind of a day. So we can kind of start off with probably one of the main things here is we're going to have Mercury coming into Scorpio. So we can see here, I have the chart set earlier because I'm using the lunar cycles, as we'll go through that later in this video. But with Mercury here, it's showing 29 degrees of Libra first thing in the morning. I believe it moves in, so 1:22 p.m. Central Time. Well, Central Time Canada, Central Time US would be 2:22 p.m. that it would move into, daylight savings, right? It's stupid. Anyways, so that it would move into Scorpio basically Sunday afternoon. All right, and of course it's going to square Pluto before it moves into Scorpio. So with the square to Pluto as well as a move into Scorpio, we're dealing with a lot of that scorpionic type energy. Pluto, obviously the modern ruler of Scorpio. Again, with Mercury in Scorpio, there's going to be an intensity surrounding aspects of communication and things like that, the mind, the little things that can relate to those Virgoan themes as well. And of course, with Jupiter in Mercury's sign, one of Mercury's signs of Gemini, this is kind of maybe a bit more expanding in this area as well too. Jupiter is also retrograde, so with Jupiter retrograde in Mercury's sign, Mercury in Scorpio, there could be stuff maybe that's really kind of coming out. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, and remember, in order to transform, in order to heal, you got to face what you got to face. So things may be coming into our awareness. Things may be communicated to us. We may be becoming more and more aware of certain things that are coming on. And communication can happen in, in different ways. It's maybe not just verbal. It could be through text. It could be through things that we notice, see, but it's about coming into our awareness, being communicated in some way, that which may need to come to the surface for whatever reason. All right. So an expansion of that, and this is with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. Of course, this is regarding things of the past. This could be stuff that has recently happened that maybe could be surfacing again, that happened during the shadow period. I mentioned that in last week's video regarding this Jupiter retrograde. That shadow period happened around this eclipse stuff. So this Jupiter retrograde could be reflecting that a bit more. And check out my previous videos on the eclipses. They will still be relevant as the eclipse window is for, about 5 to 6 months, right? Till the next eclipse season happens. And of course, where was I going with this? Eclipse season, right? 5 to 6 months. Yeah, of course, we're not, I know what I was going to say. We're not out of really the eclipse window yet. That will happen with the new moon in Scorpio that will occur, I believe, right at the beginning of November. All right, so Mercury moving into Scorpio, like I said, dealing with more of these transformational things, being aware of things that may have been hidden. Scorpio is that seeing behind the veil kind of energy. It can be very psychic. It can be very bringing to the surface these things that you need to see and need to face in order to transform. And a lot of this is going to deal with communication, bringing things to our awareness, that kind of stuff. And with, like I said, with Jupiter and Gemini, it could be blowing it up in a lot of ways. And again, this is stuff regarding things that have needed to come out or needed to expand in that area. Excuse me, I'm burping, so maybe that's, whenever that happens, that's something to pay attention to, or needing to be aware of, or needing to come out, like in that sense. You're going over that old ground because maybe something was missed, or you haven't looked at it enough, and now it's really needing to be focused on, especially now that there's more of an intensity with this Mercury and Scorpio type energy. All right, and of course, Mercury in square to Pluto, Pluto in Capricorn, now direct, right? So with Pluto direct, we're really focusing more on this transformational stuff, right? Pluto retrograde is going over that old stuff of like, okay, we can't do this anymore. This is like kind of old stuff coming up, making sure you're re-looking at that. And that's with retrograde. Now with Pluto direct, we're moving forward again. And with Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn, this is the last we're ever going to see it here, unless you somehow live to be over 300 years old or whatever. Right? Pluto's orbit is, I think, 248 years. Give or take. I believe that's the amount. It's around that range anyway. So unless you can, I mean, maybe eventually it will be possible. You can just hop into a machine, look like you're 25 again, come out and live to be 1,000. That would be great. But right now, we don't have that. So we're probably not going to see well, as it stands now, we're not going to see Pluto in Capricorn again, okay? Like I said before, this is like that final nail in the coffin. As I said at my video way back at the beginning of this year, this Pluto in Capricorn, final nail in the coffin before it moves into Aquarius. It's been in Aquarius for a bit, this retrograde back in, that nail's trying to like squeak its way back up. It's like, no, get back in there, right? So that's what this is. With this square to Mercury, again, this could be, communication surrounding that. With that square happening with Mercury in Libra, though, it's about this balancing. There's a justice, there's that balance, and all that kind of like coming through in that sense. And of course, with Pluto and Capricorn regarding aspects of control, getting rid of old like foundational stuff, that really heavy stuff that kind of needs to change as well. And with this, there's also this triseptile here to Uranus and Taurus. So there's a faded aspect of change that is needing to come through here with that square and that awareness and that balance that's ultimately coming through in that way as well. There's also another triseptile to Mercury here to the North Node in Aries. So there's something regarding this that also helps with our trajectory forward, but there's a faded aspect here, and this is a bit of a yod, because there's a septile here between North Node and Uranus. So there's change that needs to be made in order to move forward regarding a transformation out of this old ways of restriction and things like that, those old Capricornian, negative Capricornian themes, and bringing an awareness to ourselves of what needs to be balanced. And of course, maybe when we come into that awareness, and then as Mercury moves into Scorpio, we then have to communicate and you become even more aware of these things in order to be able to transform and really truly change into that new state as well. Okay, I think I've kind of touched enough on that specific aspect, but again, that is a type of yod that is happening here. Again, with Mercury as it's squaring to Pluto and then moving into Scorpio. So also on this day, we're going to have the Sun here in biquintile to Uranus. So again, we're dealing with this feminine type of energy, creative, behind the scenes type of energy. This can also be seen as, faded in some way. Right? There's also this biquintile to Saturn here as well. Right? So, and I've talked about this too. I believe it was with Mercury and I think I talked about it with Juno, with other planets at this range of Libra, with these quintiles and biquintiles here, because we have Uranus still in quintile to Saturn. We're dealing with a type of golden yod that is occurring here. And of course, this is about seeking balance, justice, those Libran type themes, maybe aspects of codependency that need to change in some way. And with Saturn here still in Pisces, I consider Saturn and Pisces the dissolution of that malefic energy. And then Uranus and Taurus, both planets retrograde, are dealing with these old things that we're aware that we need to become more and more aware of, that need balance, basically, that need justice, balance. There's an aspect of that needs to change. We're dealing with Uranus here, needs to change. Uranus and Taurus, cattle prod energy, really pushing for these big shifts and changes that need to occur. And of course, with these biquintiles and quintiles, this is very feminine, creative energy. There's a feminine power behind this. It's also behind the scenes stuff. It can feel faded stuff, but it's stuff that needs to happen or is happening maybe behind the scenes. And maybe with this Mercury stuff now too, maybe coming into our awareness a bit more on this day as well. But there's a dissolution of this old structure, right? And then with Mercury in square to Pluto in Capricorn, we're in Saturn sign of Capricorn, was a dissolution of this energy. This is all kind of like related, right? So we've got basically two types of yods happening on this day, seeking balance, transformation, being aware of things, dissolution of old structures, energy, regarding aspects of change, all of this stuff, transformation, change, transformation, change, transformation, change. We're still in this space of doing that. I've talked about this in my eclipse videos. That will be for the next 6 months. Again, this stuff isn't going away. I mean, we're heading into Scorpio season. Transformation is upon us, guys. This is going to be heightened like even more and more and more. All right, I talked about the Mercury in square to Pluto. We're also going to have the Mars in square to Chiron as well on this day. So again, this could be triggering, emotionally triggering. But again, Chiron retrograde, it's looking at these old things that we're needing to maybe release emotionally, take action emotionally on in that sense as well, express emotionally. But again, Chiron is retrograde. We're looking to heal. We're looking at this old stuff. We're ultimately looking to heal, to bring to the surface emotionally or in whatever way. There's a feminine energy that exists here as well. This is both cardinal energy, so we're looking to move in a new direction, right? And with this square, we're looking for resolution. We're looking to heal in some way. This can relate to ourselves versus maybe even family life and stuff too. Mars is the ruler of Aries and Mars in Cancer. Like I said, this is really on an emotional level, dealing with aspects of comfort, maybe how we feel comfortable, family, those kinds of things that are kind of coming through here. It's interesting that this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving. So people might be having family dinners on Sunday. So kind of watch out for this energy. You know, family dinners can be a bit tough depending on, you know, especially if you're like me, when you're the, how should we say this? The one that doesn't really fit in, the different one. Anyways, let's not get into that. So yeah. And then we're also going to have Mars here in semi-sextile to Jupiter. So again, like this square to Chiron, semi-sextile to Jupiter, there could be an expansion of communication that could be, like I said, even a bit volatile and a very emotional from this, I almost feel like in an anger way, but this is like feminine, emotional. I don't want to say necessarily emotional, but I wanted to say feminine anger, as in the feminine has a lot of the times been suppressed, with Cancer being like the mother feminine type sign. This could be anger and regarding into that sense as well. The semi-sextile to Jupiter, with Jupiter expanding this, and with this square to Chiron, it's like ultimately we're trying to heal this, but there's this working between these two energies here and signs next to each other where we want to communicate, and there could be an expansion of that emotional expression in terms of our communication and things being made aware in order to be able to transform, with that Mercury and square to Pluto moving into Scorpio and those golden yods and balance and all of that stuff happening. And with Jupiter retrograde, this is stuff that you know, but it's like you gotta face this. You gotta be able to face this. It needs to transform. A lot of people don't like Scorpio because they don't want to face what Scorpio brings up. But you know what? Too bad, because sometimes you gotta face what is literally staring you in the face in order to be able to actually transform and to move on and to heal and to move in a better direction. You can't just carry that baggage with you, pretend it's not there. It's like it's still there. You gotta deal with it and transform it so that you can move forward into that better space, right? Sun is also in opposition to Chiron, so it's part of a golden yod and in opposition to Chiron. So again, part of this balancing is likely probably to heal these wounds of self, heal this anger, heal this stuff that needs to be expressed, right? Again, all this stuff is coming out. There's a healing aspect to this, a transformative aspect to all of this. And also, the sun is also in trine to Jupiter as well this day. So sun trine Jupiter, I feel like ultimately, when you're dealing with a trine, you're dealing with Jupiter, the great benefic. This is ultimately for our greatest good, all of this stuff. So these other aspects that may seem negative, that although there's these yachts and all this stuff intermixed in with the Scorpio energy and all that, this expansion, all of this is ultimately for our own balance, our own good, our own transformation, our own all of these things, right? So it may not feel positive as we're going through it, but Sun Jupiter days tend to, be fairly positive. It's an expansion. So maybe this transformation, this release, this healing is ultimately working for our greatest good, even if maybe going through it, it doesn't necessarily seem that way, right? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot I could get into with that, but all right. I think I've said enough about Sunday. Let's move on. Let's move on to Monday. Okay. It'll load. Come on. There we go. I need to think for a minute on that one. Okay, so on Monday here, we're going to have the sun in square to Mars. So I'm kind of just noticing this a bit here with the sun opposition to Chiron, and then with the Mars here, this is building in the T-square. I think I talked about this a bit last week as well. There's an aspect of maybe balance, justice, healing aspects of anger. I think I talked about healing aspects of like the feminine as well as maybe the masculine stuff and finding a balance in this energy as well in this expression. But I feel like there was a lot of like feminine energy really kind of strongly coming up to the surface as well with this. But here we're going to be triggering this T-square a bit more with the sun opposition Chiron and with this Mars square and then the sun square Mars. So we're dealing a lot with cardinal energy with this T-square. We're wanting to move forward in a new direction, to find a place of balance, to heal these wounds of self-identity, anger, assertiveness as well could be something that is really coming up here, getting rid of this doormat energy and feeling more assertive in that sense. Sorry, Libras. But a very negative aspect to Libra is, in fact, you can be a doormat when you basically constantly putting other people before yourself. That's why you need to find that state of balance. But through that balance is looking at your opposite sign of Aries and recognizing your own self as well. Okay, it's not a negative aspect towards Libras. Libras are very good people. But it's understanding to find that state of balance and not lean so far in one direction, right? So there is going to be that T-square there. So I feel like this is relating to Sunday as well and bringing into Monday with that sun square Mars exact. Again, this is pushing for balance, pushing for justice, pushing for that kind of stuff, and ultimately moving in a new direction, new balanced direction. Right? Venus is the ruler of this Libran energy at the moment, and Venus is in Scorpio. This is ultimate transformation to move in a new direction, move in balance. And this could be triggering. We're bringing out this anger, bringing out this expression, facing what you got to face, and moving forward in a lot of these ways. Right? Also on this day, we're going to have Venus in opposition to Uranus here in Taurus. So change regarding this. Venus is ruling this energy. Like I said, this could be triggering, could be healing. It's ultimately surrounding these huge aspects of change. We're still in this eclipse window. We're still feeling all that energy. And like I said, all of this is surrounding aspects of transformation and change. I don't think that that's really necessarily going away. In fact, it's not. It's just not. Okay, it's not going away at all. Okay, this Venus opposition Uranus is retrograde. This is changes that we know that we need to make. Venus and Scorpio, this transformational stuff. Of course, Venus rules Taurus where Uranus is, so this is triggering those kinds of changes as well as those Libran energies as well. So dealing with the relationships, dealing with these, this could relate to money, but I feel like with Taurus, it's like these big changes. Taurus is very stubborn, so it's these big changes that you need to make, that you just gotta fucking make. You just gotta fucking do it. And with this Uranus energy, it's like that cattle prod. It's like, come on, let's go. With this opposition, it's facing that transformational part of this change. This is really pushing this in seeking balance in transformation and these big changes that really actually need to occur. And I feel like there's still this push from the Sunday into this day to really do this. And you can see here, Venus is still in trine to this Mars as well. So it's almost like this feminine and masculine energy still kind of working together in this sense regarding these aspects of change, triggering this, healing this, wanting to move forward in a state of balance, new direction, understanding assertiveness, not giving into other people's fucking bullshit all the time. All this kind of stuff, just transformation, change in the state of balance. That still seems to be what's kind of really coming through here. Let's move on to Tuesday, the 15th. Loaded quicker that time. That's good. We're going to have Venus in a semi-square to Black Moon Lilith here in Libra. Okay, so Black Moon Lilith, especially... So Black Moon Lilith is that feminine energy, that outcast to feminine. It's where we feel outcast. And with Libra, this could be in terms of our relationships, in terms of a lack of balance, in terms of a lack of justice, where I felt outcasted in terms of justice, all those things. With Venus here and square to this, wanting to transform. Venus is ruling this Libran energy as well as this Taurus energy where Uranus is now, so surrounding these aspects of change, transformation, balance that's still coming through here. So this Black Moon Lilith energy is like, yeah, like come on, let's transform, let's change this stuff. That's still all of what I've already basically been talking about. Watch my video on the eclipse, watch my video last week. It's like this, we're still carrying on this kind of theme of this energy. And we need to find balance in terms of where we have been outcast in life and by other people, right? We can't deal with this bullshit anymore, right? We need to transform, we need to change. Venus is ruling over this type of energy. Venus is in Scorpio, still in opposition to Uranus. These are changes we know we need to fucking make. It's going over this old ground. We know that we need to change, right? Okay, Venus is also in biquintile to Chiron here. So again, this is triggering that we're trying to heal this aspect of our own independence, this aspect of assertiveness, right? There's this stuff that's really coming through here. I feel like it's healing with this aspect of self-independence, mostly is what I feel is coming through. And this is a very creative feminine type energy in terms of this transformation. And I feel like this relates to that feminine energy that I was talking about in my past couple of videos that's really coming out and regaining power in order to rebalance the pendulum back into an actual balanced state. Not so much patriarchal, all this very toxic masculine, but bringing it back into a balance where the feminine and masculine energy are balanced and actually working together as one, instead of this completely fucked up all in one direction, really toxic kind of crap, right? So, but that's where we need to have this balance and change really coming through and coming to the surface in this way. And of course, how this relates specifically to you in your life is how this relates to your own chart, right? This is on a very grand scale that I'm talking about this, but these are the general energies that are coming through. How this is specifically going to relate to you is going to be within your own chart. I do offer a 15-minute transit reading if you want to get something like that. Link in description or in my bio if you're on TikTok, if that's something that actually does interest you, right? Okay, also on this day, Venus is going to be in trine to Neptune. So Venus in Scorpio in trine to this Neptunian energy. Again, I've talked about this before. This feels like it's kind of like the behind the scenes stuff, maybe stuff that, again, Neptune is retrograde too. So stuff that has been hidden or almost kept secret, or it's that fog, that kind of thing. But with this trine to Venus, Venus is Scorpio is bringing things to the surface, bringing things awareness, seeing through the veil in this sense. With this trine, this is positive transformation surrounding these Venus type energies in terms of maybe where we have felt outcast. Maybe things are actually beginning to be seen now in terms of what the truth was that was being hidden, that was being masked, that was being obscured, maybe even by the media or whatever. There was some fog, kind of oh, this does not exist kind of thing. You know what I mean? Let's not get into different kinds of, I was going to say magic and kind of stuff, but let's not go there today. There's good magic and there's not so good Anyways, we're seeing, maybe possibly seeing behind that kind of stuff. Remember, this is a trine, so this is that positive transformational energy maybe coming through. This is very feminine flowing energy as well with this, but it's that transformational, it's seeing through this. This could be very intuitive kind of energy coming through, but I think it's seeing maybe what has kind of been hidden. As Neptune is retrograde, you're going over these kind of spaces, and maybe this Venus energy, seeing that stuff in order to transform, in order to bring balance and appropriate change, actually coming through in this way as well. We're also going to have Mercury here in Scorpio now, in biquintile to Neptune as well. So there's some creative feminine stuff happening behind the scenes. I feel like maybe this is intuitive stuff, maybe beginning to come through into our awareness, into our mind, being communicated in some way regarding what has been hidden, regarding behind the scenes stuff, seeing through the fog in that sense. But I feel like seeing through the fog in that way that is probably like more intuitive in a way, although not necessarily, because we are dealing with Mercury here, so there could be something that's coming through that's communicated, but this could be behind the scenes stuff that maybe either we're becoming aware of, or that we're working on ourselves, that we know of things that are hidden in order to be brought out in some way as well in that sense. All right, let's move on to Wednesday here, the 16th, excuse me. Okay, so maybe what I said there is something to pay attention to. All right, so on Wednesday here, we're going to have the Sun in conjunction to Juno. So again, with this happening in Libra, and I can see there's a square here to this Pluto that I'm kind of being drawn to, this opposition to Chiron, this square to what looks like Jupiter's north node and Pluto's north node. So there's something going on here regarding an aspect of partnerships. Again, this could be romantic partnerships, this could be marriage, this could be contractual partnerships in any kind of a way. They could be business contracts, this could be like a live-in partnership, this could be any kind of committed type of partnership. Of course, this is in Libra, so we're looking to either strike a balance, this likely relating with people and relationships in that way. Doesn't have to be romantic, but this is trying to strike a balance likely in that sense, or justice in that way, but it's dealing with an aspect, we're trying to heal in some way, healing a sense of our identity or self. I feel like there's like a justice or something surrounding that, but ultimately a transformation through old aspects of control, restriction, or something that is happening with this square to Pluto here. And we have this square to Jupiter and Pluto's north node. So in terms of where we're going, in terms of our transformation and stuff that needs to come into balance and such here, regarding those partnerships, regarding changes in the healing that needs to occur. And again, with Chiron retrograde here, we're dealing with this old stuff that needs to heal within these places. There's a biquintile here to Uranus retrograde, so again, there's this feminine energy coming through. We still have this golden yod that this is triggering as this is coming through regarding these things. There's something happening behind the scenes to trigger some type of healing and a balance that needs to occur here in the sense. This could surround aspects of assertiveness as well that is coming through to strike some kind of balance and justice that is occurring there. And as this is a very feminine energy, this could be that feminine energy becoming strong and coming through again, or this balance of this masculine energy and properly supporting the feminine and not existing in its old school toxic behavior any longer. And when I say this, I'm not talking about, old school, like heterosexual, heteronormative behavior in relationships. I'm talking about the actual masculine and feminine energies that can be reflected within a relationship if that is something that fits your personal dynamic. However, that is not for everyone, right? You can still be a man and represent feminine energy. You can still be a woman and represent masculine energy. You can still be non-binary. You can still be all of these other things. All of that stuff is still valid. You can still have different sexual orientations. All of that stuff is still valid. What I'm talking about is the actual energies and bringing things more into an actual balanced state where things are properly balanced and supported, and we're not dealing with any of these old, outdated, toxic type of energies that have existed in our world before. Okay, but again, I think the emphasis on this Sun conjunct Juno, that emphasis is now on these partnerships and relationships and bringing an appropriate balance, which it could include a complete transformation or that healing and transformation could also be an ending as well in some way, as there's this Jupiter North Node, Pluto North Node conjunction there. Of course, that's in Cancer. This could be emotional. This could relate to family stuff. This could relate to where we're needing to transform in order to feel comfortable, as well, in terms of like this balance stuff that needs to heal. This, and again, relate to an emotional state as well. We have Mars conjunct this area too. So again, this is, and what's coming through now is that feminine assertiveness, that feminine, I almost want to say anger as well, that is coming up as, like I said, Cancer is that feminine sign, that emotional feminine. I don't want to say that the feminine is only emotional. Masculine is can be emotional too. All right, let's not. But what I'm saying is that relates, the energies of that is, it's a feminine energy. I feel like this coming through is that feminine energy. Cancer is a feminine sign is what I want to say. Sorry, I was awakened very early this morning and my brain is like trying to catch up, processing. There's like this feminine, I almost want to say anger coming through in order to be assertive, in order to transform and properly change and bring things back into an appropriate balance. In order to like, I was hearing like stand up for ourselves, and have that actual appropriate masculine support. But again, in that balance, it's not just in that traditional sense. I mean, like with that energetic sense as well. Because yeah. Okay, I think I've said enough about that. Let's move on to Thursday. Okay, so Thursday here, the 17th, this is when we're going to have the full moon in Aries here, conjunct Chiron. This may be a very triggering week for a lot of people, I feel. I've been feeling it already in the energy of this previous week and this eclipse stuff, so yeah. So we're going to have the full moon here. We're also going to have Venus moving into Sagittarius now, and she's also going to be in sextile to Pluto before she moves into Sagittarius. So like we had Mercury in Libra, where am I going with this? In square to Pluto. Come on, brain, catch up. We're now going to have this, and that would happen on Sunday. So now on Thursday, Venus is going to shift signs, and before she does, she's going to aspect Pluto as well. So Venus here, ruling over, okay, where am I going with this? Ruling over this Libran energy where the sun is in opposition to the moon on this full moon. So this will happen so the full moon will happen when Venus was still in Scorpio. Okay, and then Venus will sextile to Pluto, and then Venus will move into Sagittarius after the full moon. So Venus moves into Sagittarius 1:27 p.m., and this full moon happens in the morning at 5:27 a.m. Okay? Or 5:24 a.m. according to this chart. Anyway, so where am I going here? So Venus in sextile to Pluto, again, we're dealing with these transformational things, these aspects of control and restriction that needs to be transformed in terms of these Venus-related things. Venus in Scorpio, that again needs to be transformed. Venus ruling Taurus and Libra. So Uranus is in Taurus regarding these aspects of changes that need to be made, that needs to occur with this Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn ruler of Capricorn in Pisces, the dissolution of this malefic energy, change. It's a mutable sign, that malleable energy, change that needs to occur there. And with this Sun in Libra stuff that Venus is ruling over, oh my God, excuse me, there's a lot coming through. Pay attention to this. Bringing this aspect of balance and justice that needs to occur with all of this shit. And of course, with this full moon conjunct Chiron, this release that needs to occur in order for this balance to occur, and with this also in square to the building in square to Pluto, with this sun building in square to Pluto, Pluto here square the moon as well, so there's a T-square here with this full moon with Pluto. Transformation and change. This is cardinal energy. We need to move forward in a new direction and to heal all this bullshit of where we've been hurt, wounds of assertiveness, our identity, all those things. I feel like this is a lot of that assertiveness regarding that feminine energy that's coming up to strike that balance again. All right, there's lots of change and transformation that needs to occur here. Lots of healing that needs to occur here. Anger that is needing to come out here. Shit that needs to come out here regarding where people have been put down, put upon, the feminine energy that's been suppressed that needs to come into an appropriate balance here. There's balance, there's justice, there's all this crap that needs to fucking occur. There's a release that needs to occur here regarding our wounds. The wounds to our self-identity, anger, all of this shit. Transformation that needs to occur. We need to move in a new direction. Away from the old world bullshit. That's what this is. Sun still conjunct Juno. This is likely relating with partnerships, relationships, those kinds of things. They need to strike a balance in some kind of a way. Right? There's still there's a triseptile here to Neptune. I'm being trying to do different things here at once. So again, there's a fated aspect coming through regarding maybe what's been hidden in this sense as well that needs to occur, needs to be balanced out. And this biquintile to Uranus. So again, there's stuff happening behind the scenes regarding these changes that we know they need to be fucking made. And again, I feel like I'm being kind of feeling that's coming through. There's this feminine energy again that's related to this balance and stuff, and this feminine power that needs to come through here. All right. Also on this day, we're going to have Mercury here in Scorpio in sesqui-square or sesquiquadrate to Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So again, there's some aspect of awareness or communication that can no longer be swept under the rug. A sesquiquadrate or sesquisquare is also known as like a super square. This is something that something's wrong here, at fault. You can't sweep it under the rug anymore. It needs to be looked at. You kept sweeping it under the rug for so long. It's like that. What is that, old cartoons or something where they'd sweep something under the rug or someone would hide under the rug and you'd see the big lump like under the rug, like it's obvious that it's there, like the elephant in the room, so to speak. It's like you can't ignore this shit anymore, right? And it's coming into an awareness or communication. We're learning it. Gemini is also about learning, curiosity, that kind of stuff coming into our awareness. Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, it's expanding this energy of where we know that we need to look. It's what we've been probably communicated to with before, but we need to look at it again. We need to continue to look at this stuff. Again, this is surrounding communication, our awareness. This could relate to the Virgo energy as well as these things coming through. I'm kind of being drawn to this Mercury here in sextile to Venus's North Node in Virgo. So again, this could deal with these Venus-related themes, balance, money, our relationships, material things, that kind of stuff. But as it relates to our day-to-day life schedules, the details, and it surrounds those kinds of things, right, that we need to expand on. We need to look at these things, come into our awareness. We cannot keep sweeping this shit under the rug any longer. Okay, Mercury is also in quincunx to the North Node and semisextile the South Node. All right, so again, this awareness, it can be frustrating because there's an integration that needs to occur here in order to move into our new direction. It's like, well, it's like I want to move forward into this, but oh shit, I gotta face that. But really, this facing this is going to help you to integrate whatever the hell it is you need to integrate in order to move forward in a new direction, right? In order to be independent, in order to move forward in that new direction. This again, I'm being drawn to more of the cardinal aspect of Aries, just moving forward, new direction. Semi-sextile here to the South Node, releasing aspects of codependency, striking that balance, releasing that past, finding justice so that you can move forward into this space. And like these minor aspects can be a bit frustrating, and that could be relating to this awareness and stuff that is coming through with this Jupiter sesqui-square to this Mercury, of this expansion of this either communication or whatever is coming out that we really need to face and see, that really strongly needs to come through here. All right, and with Venus moving into Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter is kind of really expanding more of this stuff, okay? So, yeah. Although Venus and Sagittarius can be a bit more positive. Sagittarius is that positive energy. Jupiter is like the great benefic. However, Jupiter is retrograde, so it's going over these old spaces maybe in order to properly expand and reach that positivity. We kind of need to really kind of face this stuff, or whatever Venus in Scorpio has brought up that needs to be transformed. Now we kind of need to expand on that in a bit, right? Okay, that's Thursday. Let's move on to Friday the 18th, and we actually have nothing major peaking on this day. Cool. Friday might be I was gonna say might be a chill day. We'll see. Okay, so Saturday the 19th, we're going to have Sun in quincunx to Uranus. So we're going to be building into the quincunx on Friday, so maybe not so much. Okay, so we're going to have the Sun here in Libra in quincunx to Uranus and Taurus. Again, surrounding aspects of change that needs to occur and striking that balance here, right? And again, I'm feeling it's drawing into this feminine type stuff. Venus is now in Sagittarius over this. Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, which is now in Gemini. It could be an aspect of communication coming through over things that we know that we need to, that communication that needs to be expanded on, needs to be made aware of. That could be part of the frustration that's occurred here surrounding these aspects of change that we already know that we needed to make. And of course, Venus is kind of emphasizing this energy. Venus is ruling over this because we need to expand in these areas of justice in order to properly find balance and change and all of this stuff. Okay, and this could seem frustrating. There's something that needs to be integrated here surrounding this. Is there, looks like there may be a yacht happening here with the Sun as well. Neptune and Uranus to here. So again, this could relate to these hidden things, this stuff, the fog or intuition, that kind of stuff with this quincunx relating to these aspects of balance. It's like maybe we know we're finally seeing behind the veil here regarding these aspects of change. Uranus waking up to what this is in Taurus, these big things with this yod, with the focal point being the Sun in Libra, finding balance, justice, that kind of stuff, other people. That needs to occur, and there could be a frustration regarding that. And again, with Venus, that expansion energy, it's expanding and focusing on this. That's kind of the focal point to strike a balance in this sense. I feel like there's a strong feminine energy that seems to be building in expansion. There's lots of stuff that could be triggering and all that kind of stuff really coming through this week. So maybe a bit of a different energy. We have some stuff switching, Mercury and Venus switching signs this week. We are heading into Scorpio season soon here, as well as a lot of still carrying over that feminine stuff. Like I said, from last week's video and this eclipse type energy. Remember that eclipse stuff is still valid for the next 5 to 6 months. So watch those previous videos. They were really good. So my last 2 videos, I really like. They were really fiery, really intense. They're very much strong feminine energy coming through there. So check those out if you have time as well. Again, let's end it here for this video. So thank you all for watching. If you've made it this far, please put a purple heart in the comments below to let me know that you are a real one. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.